The signal wasn't supposed to be there. Lieutenant Kale had seen thousands of transmissions in his career, distress calls, pirate chatter, diplomatic relays, but nothing like this. It pulsed across the holoscreen in front of him, jagged and uneven, like a dying heartbeat refusing to flatline. "Run the scan again," he said. Ensign Mira didn't argue. Her fingers flew across the console, reprocessing the data for the third time. Around them, the bridge of the Astrius remained unusually quiet. Even the low hum of the ship's systems felt muted, as if the vessel itself were listening. "It's consistent," Mira said after a moment. "Signal integrity matches across all bands. No distortion artifacts. No echo lag." Kale frowned. "So it's not a reflection?" "No, sir." She hesitated. "It's real." That wasn't the problem. The problem was where it was coming from. Kale zoomed the star map outward. Sector 7 Gamma flickered into focus, a region of space so empty it barely deserved a designation. No stars. No planets. No recorded activity for over 8 centuries. Dead space. Nothing came from dead space. "Timestamp," Kale said. Mira inhaled slowly, like she already knew he wouldn't like the answer. "Based on signal decay and propagation drift, approximately 1,000 years old." No one spoke. Kale leaned back in his chair, eyes still locked on the pulsing waveform. 1,000 years. That meant the signal had been traveling through space since before half the known civilizations had even discovered faster-than-light travel. It should have faded into nothing. It should have been gone. "Play it," he said. Mira hesitated. "Sir, we don't know what?" "Play it." The speakers crackled. Static flooded the bridge, thick, suffocating noise that made the air feel heavier. Then, beneath it, something shifted. A pattern. A rhythm. A voice. "Anyone receiving, please." The words were broken, distorted by time and distance. But they were unmistakable. Human. Kale leaned forward. "Don't come." The message cut abruptly, swallowed by static. A chill crept through the room. "Replay that," Kale said quietly. Mira complied. The voice returned, slightly clearer this time, as if the system had learned how to hear it better. "Anyone receiving, please, don't come." Silence followed. One of the technicians swallowed audibly. That's not standard modern dialect." Mira nodded. "It's archaic. Pre-expansion era. Early human deep space explorers used this linguistic structure." Kale's mind raced. 1,000 years ago, humanity had barely begun to leave its home system. Their ships were primitive, slow, fragile. They didn't travel to places like Sector 7 Gamma. They couldn't. "Source?" he asked. Myra's hands hovered over the console. "That's the problem. There's no fixed origin point." "What do you mean?" "It's spread out. Like the signal isn't coming from a single transmitter, but from the entire sector itself." Kale stared at her. "That's not possible." "I know," she said. He stood, stepping closer to the main display. The waveform pulsed again, steady and insistent. Not fading. Not weakening. Waiting. "Boost gain," he ordered. Mira adjusted the filters. The static sharpened, peeling back layer by layer until the voice beneath it became clearer. "Please." The audio glitched. For a fraction of a second. Something else slipped through. Not the same voice. Not broken. Not weak. "You shouldn't." The transmission snapped back to static. Myra's breath caught. "Did you hear that?" Kale didn't answer immediately. Because he had. And it hadn't sounded like a recording. It had sounded like a response. "Isolate that segment," he said. Mira rewound the data, isolating the anomaly. She replayed it. Static. The original voice. "Don't come." "You shouldn't." Gone. The room felt colder. "That wasn't in the original signal," Mira whispered. "No," Kale said. His pulse had quickened, though he couldn't explain why. "Run a temporal analysis." Myra's fingers moved quickly again. Seconds ticked by. Then she froze. "Lieutenant." "What?" "That second voice, it's not degraded." Kale frowned. "Explain." The original signal shows 1,000 years of decay. Radiation interference, time distortion, propagation loss. She swallowed. But that second voice, it's clean. As if it had just been transmitted. Kale felt something tighten in his chest. That's not possible, someone said. No one disagreed. The waveform pulsed again. Louder this time. Almost aware. Kale stared at it. 1,000-year-old distress call. Still broadcasting. Still warning them away. And something inside it, something new, was answering back. He should have shut it down. Logged it. Reported it. Instead, he heard himself speak. Set a course. Mira blinked. Sir? Plot a jump to Sector 7 Gamma. The bridge erupted. Lieutenant, we don't know what that is. It could be a trap. It could be nothing. Kale raised a hand. Silence fell. If there's even a chance someone is still out there, he said, voice steady, we don't ignore it. Mira hesitated. Then slowly nodded. Aye, sir. She entered the coordinates. The ship's engines began to hum, building toward a jump. Kale turned back to the screen. The signal pulsed once more. And this time, it changed. The waveform sharpened. Shifted. Aligned. As if reacting. Listening. The speakers crackled. Static surged. Clear as day. The voice returned. Not broken. Not distant. Right there. You heard us. Kale's breath stopped. The entire bridge froze. And the voice continued. So certain. Waiting. And you're coming. The jump into Sector 7 Gamma felt wrong. Not the violent tearing sensation Kale had experienced 100 times before. Not the blinding flash of warped starlight or the crushing silence of folded space. This was different. Subtle. Quiet. Like slipping into a place that didn't want to be entered. The stars reappeared, but dimmer. Faded. As if their light had traveled too far, or aged too much. Report, Kale said, his voice steady despite the unease settling in his chest. Mira was already scanning. No stellar bodies detected. No planets. No radiation signatures. That's impossible. I know, she said, her tone tight. There's nothing here. Kale stared out through the forward viewport. Nothing. No stars. No dust clouds. No cosmic debris. Just emptiness. Not the normal kind, the vast, indifferent vacuum of space. This felt all like something had been removed. Signal? He asked. Mira swallowed. Stronger. How much stronger? She turned slowly, her face pale. It's not coming from across the sector anymore. Kale's pulse quickened. Then where is it coming from? The beat. Right on top of us. The speakers crackled. No one had touched the controls. Static flooded the bridge, but it didn't sound the same as before. It wasn't chaotic. It was structured. Listening. The voice. Unbroken. You shouldn't have come. Every muscle in Kale's body locked. That's not the original transmission, Mira whispered. No, Kale said. It's not. The voice continued. Measured. Human. We told you not to come. A crewman near the rear console stumbled back. That's live. That has to be live. It can't be, another said. The signal is 1,000 years old. The ship shuddered. Not from impact. From resonance. The metal beneath their feet vibrated softly, like something outside was touching it, not physically, but intentionally. Lieutenant, Mira said, panic creeping into her voice, we're being scanned. By what? I don't know. It's not any system I've ever seen. It's not even reading like technology. Kale stepped forward. Open a channel. Sir, we don't know what we're dealing with. Do it. Mira hesitated only a moment before complying. The comms system flickered to life, projecting a thin band of light across the bridge. Kale took a breath. This is Lieutenant Kale of the exploration vessel Astrius, he said. Identify yourself. Silence answered him. Heavy. A sound. So faint. Laughter. Not mocking. Not hostile. Just tired. You already know. Kale felt something cold settle in his spine. You heard us, the voice said. The lights flickered. You heard us 1,000 years ago. Mira shook her head rapidly. That's not possible. That would mean. It means they're still here, someone whispered. Kale clenched his jaw. If you're human, state your origin. The pause. We were. The words hit harder than any weapon. We sent the call, the voice continued. We warned anyone who would listen. Kale's grip tightened on the console. Then why are you still broadcasting it? Another pause. Longer this time. When the voice returned, it sounded different. Closer. You think it's a warning? The ship trembled again. Outside the viewport, something moved. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just enough to be noticed. A shadow against the void. Mira gasped. Sensors are picking up objects, multiple objects, just beyond visual range. Identify them. I can't, she said. They're not reflecting light properly. It's like they're absorbing it. The voice spoke again. It wasn't a warning. Kale's heart pounded. It was a request. A sharp metallic sound echoed through the ship. A scrape. Slow. Like something dragging across the hull. Several crew members flinched. That's external contact, one shouted. Something is on the ship. Visual. Kale ordered. The external cameras flickered to life. Static. Distortion. A glimpse. Something pale. Too smooth. Moving along the surface of the hull. The feed cut. Myra's hands shook. It's interfering with our systems. Whatever it is, it's not mechanical. The voice returned. Softer now. Almost gentle. We asked for help. Kale swallowed. And now, the voice continued, you've come to give it. The ship lurched. Harder this time. Lights dimmed. Then surged back. Engines. Kale snapped. Still online, but not responding to input. Navigation. Locked out. Kale's pulse spiked. We're being held here. The voice didn't deny it. Do you know what we found? Kale didn't answer. He didn't want to. We came here, the voice said, because we heard something too. Mira froze. Kale slowly turned toward her. Her eyes were wide. No, she whispered. The voice continued. A signal. The bridge felt suddenly smaller. Tighter. Like the walls were closing in. It was old, the voice said. Ancient. Kale's throat went dry. And it answered back. The lights flickered again. This time, they didn't stabilize. Darkness crept across the bridge, swallowing consoles one by one. Only the main screen remained. On it, a waveform. Familiar. Pulsing. Alive. Mira stared at it, horror dawning on her face. That's not our signal, she whispered. Kale already knew. Because it was changing. Adapting. Growing stronger. As if it had found something new to carry it. The voice spoke one last time. You shouldn't have come. The pause. But this time, it wasn't just the voice speaking. It was coming from the ship. From the walls. From the air itself. From them. Now you're part of it. At first, the sensors refused to understand what they were seeing. Data flooded Myra's console in broken fragments. Mass readings without origin, shapes without light, objects that existed but didn't behave like objects should. It's resolving, she whispered. Kale stepped closer. On screen. The main display flickered. Static peeled away. And the void filled with shapes. Chips. Hundreds of them. No, thousands. They hung in the darkness like frozen bones, scattered across the emptiness in silent formation. Some were massive warships, their hulls scarred and ancient. Others were small, sleek exploration vessels. Alien designs Kale didn't recognize. Civilizations long gone. And among them, human ships. Old ones. Very old. Kale felt his breath catch. Magnify, he said. The image zoomed in on one of the human vessels. Its hull was worn, its markings faded, but still visible. A pre-expansion insignia. A ship that should have been dust centuries ago. Damage assessment? Kill it. Myra's fingers moved slowly now, like she was afraid of what she'd find. Minimal. Kale frowned. That's not possible. It gets worse, she said quietly. He looked at her. Her face had gone pale. They're not destroyed. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. They're intact. A crewman shook his head. That's impossible. No ship survives 1,000 years out here, not without maintenance, not without power. Life support is active, Mira said. The words hit like a shockwave. No, someone whispered. No, that's not. Kale turned back to the screen. The ships drifted in perfect stillness. Not colliding. Not decaying. Just waiting. How many? He asked. Myra's voice trembled. I'm still counting, but it's in the thousands. Multiple species. Multiple eras. Kale's chest tightened. This isn't a graveyard, he said. Mira looked at him. It's a collection. The voice returned. Close. You're seeing them now, aren't you? Kale clenched his fists. What happened here? He demanded. The pause. We answered the call. The words echoed through the bridge. Just like you. Kale's stomach dropped. The realization hit him all at once. Every ship out there had come for the same reason. A distress call. A signal. A plea for help. And none of them had left. The ship trembled again. This time, it wasn't subtle. A deep vibration rolled through the hull, like something massive had shifted outside. Contact proximity increasing, a technician shouted. Multiple objects closing in. Kale snapped his gaze to the screen. The ships. They were moving. Slowly. Deliberately. Turning. All of them. Toward the Astrius. That's not drift, Mira said, her voice shaking. That's controlled movement. They're surrounding us, someone else said. Kale's pulse hammered. Engines full power. No response. Override. I'm trying, it's like something's locking us out. The voice spoke again. Patient. We tried to leave. Kale froze. Every one of us, it continued. The screen flickered. A new feed appeared. Unprompted. Uncontrolled. A live transmission. Kale's breath caught. A human face stared back at them. Still. Eyes open. Too wide. The skin looked wrong. Not decayed. Not damaged. Just empty. Like something was wearing it. We tried to leave, the face said. Its lips moved, but the voice didn't quite match. It lagged just slightly, like it was being spoken through something else. We couldn't. More faces appeared beside it. Then more. Dozens. Hundreds. All human. All staring. Mira stumbled back from her console. That's not possible. There's no way that many life signs could still be. Those aren't life signs, Kale said quietly. He didn't know how he knew. But he did. The faces spoke again. Together. Perfectly synchronized. We stayed. The word echoed unnaturally, like it was being spoken from too many places at once. The ship groaned. A long, metallic strain that made the entire structure shudder. Hull integrity dropping, someone shouted. We're being... A loud scrape cut him off. This time, it wasn't distant. It was right outside the bridge. Everyone froze. Another scrape. Slower. Deliberate. Like fingers dragging across the exterior. Myra's voice dropped to a whisper. They're on us. Kale forced himself to stay calm. Seal all internal bulkheads. Already trying. Systems aren't responding. The faces on the screen leaned closer. Not physically. But the image shifted, warping as if they were pressing against the inside of the display. You heard the signal, they said. Kale's chest tightened. You followed it. The lights flickered violently. Then dimmed. The only illumination left came from the screen. And the faces. And now, they whispered. Kale felt it. A pressure. Not on his body. On his mind. And now you understand. The ships outside completed their movement. The Astrius was no longer alone in the void. It was at the center. Surrounded. Chosen. The faces smiled. Not warmly. Not kindly. But knowingly. And now, they said, you stay. Cut the feed. Kale's voice cracked through the bridge, sharp and desperate. Mira slammed her hands across the console, cycling commands faster than the system could respond. I'm trying, it's not ours anymore. Something else is controlling the output. The screen didn't flicker. It deepened. The faces didn't disappear. They multiplied. Dozens became hundreds. Hundreds became thousands. Layered over one another, overlapping in impossible ways, like reflections in a shattered mirror that refused to break completely. All of them staring. All of them aware. We stayed. The words came from everywhere. Not just the speakers. The walls. The floor. Inside Kale's skull. The ship groaned, a deep, structural strain that reverberated through every bone in his body. Hull integrity at 80% and dropping, a technician shouted. Something's forcing entry. We're detecting breaches across multiple decks. Seal them, Kale snapped. They won't seal. Another jolt rocked the Astrius, harder this time. Several crew members lost their footing, slamming into consoles. Sparks erupted from a panel overhead, showering the bridge in brief, violent light. Mira grabbed the edge of her station, breathing hard. They're not cutting through the hull, she stopped, eyes darting across the readings. They're phasing through it. Kale turned sharply. Explain. I can't, she said, panic rising. There's no mass displacement, no energy spike. Whatever's entering the ship isn't interacting with matter the way it should. The faces leaned closer on the screen. Too close. You don't have to be afraid. Kale stepped forward, forcing himself to meet their gaze. What are you? For the first time, the voices didn't answer immediately. The delay was worse than any response. Survivors. The word echoed through the bridge, but it felt wrong. Incomplete. Like it had been chosen because no better word existed. Mira shook her head violently. No, that's not true. I'm reading their signatures. They're not alive. There's no biological consistency, no metabolic activity. She swallowed. It's like they're stored. Kale felt a chill crawl up his spine. Stored where? Myra's eyes slowly lifted to the main screen. Everywhere. The ship lurched again. This time, the floor beneath them shifted, subtly, but unmistakably. Like something massive had pressed against the outer hull and leaned in. They're boarding us, someone whispered. No, Kale said. He didn't know why he said it. But he knew it was true. They're not boarding. Another scrape echoed through the bridge. Closer, louder. It came from inside. Every head snapped toward the rear access corridor. The door remained closed. But the sound continued. A slow, dragging noise. Like something moving along the other side. Or something trying to remember how. Myra's voice dropped to a whisper. There's nothing in that corridor. No heat signatures. No mass readings. The scraping stopped. Silence. A soft knock. 3 taps. Measured. Intentional. The entire bridge froze. The faces on the screen smiled. We were afraid too. Kale's hand hovered over his sidearm, though he knew it would be useless. Open it, the voices said gently. No, Mira whispered. Don't. The door slid open. Not because anyone commanded it, because something else did. The corridor beyond was empty. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights flickered, and something stepped forward. Not a body, not a shape, a distortion. Like the air itself had folded inward, forming the outline of something that didn't fully exist. Kale felt it immediately. A presence. Watching. Learning. Life signs detected, Mira said weakly. Kale didn't turn. Where? Everywhere. The distortion moved. Slowly. Deliberately. Toward the bridge. Crew members backed away, pressing themselves against consoles, against walls, anywhere to put distance between them and whatever this was. The voices softened. Almost kind. You don't have to be afraid. The distortion reached the threshold of the bridge. And stopped. Kale forced himself to stand his ground. What do you want? He demanded. The faces on the screen answered. You heard us. The distortion shifted. Not closer. Not farther. Just deeper. You followed the signal. Kale's heart pounded. And now? The lights dimmed again. Lower, lower, until only the screen illuminated the room. And now you understand. Cale felt it then. A pressure inside his mind. Not painful. Not violent. Just present. Like something had opened a door and stepped inside. Memories flickered at the edge of his thoughts. Not his own. Cold. Endless. Waiting. We were like you, the voices said. The distortion pulsed. We came to help. Mira staggered slightly. Lieutenant, I can feel them. Cale clenched his jaw. Hold it together. They're not forcing anything, she said, her voice trembling. They're offering. The word hung in the air. Offering. The faces smiled wider. You don't have to leave. Cale's stomach dropped. You don't have to be alone. The distortion moved again. It didn't stop. It passed the threshold. Entered the bridge. And as it did, every console flickered. Every system screamed. And every crew member felt it. Not touching their bodies. Touching their thoughts. We stayed, the voices whispered. Cale tried to move. Tried to resist. But something inside him. And now, they said softly, so will you. The first thing Cale lost was time. It didn't shatter. It didn't stop. It just stretched. Moments became minutes. Minutes folded into something longer, softer, like memory melting into dream. He was still standing on the bridge. He knew that. He could see it. Mira at her station. The crew frozen in place. The distortion hovering in the center of the room. Not hovering. Expanding. It wasn't a shape anymore. It wasn't something you could point to. It was everywhere. And it was inside him. You understand now. The voice didn't come through the speakers. It came from within. Layered over his thoughts. Not replacing them. Joining them. Cale tried to move. His body didn't respond. Not because it couldn't, but because it didn't need to. A strange calm settled over him. The fear was still there, somewhere distant, like a memory of a feeling rather than the feeling itself. You don't have to resist. The words felt too true. Cale clenched his thoughts, if that was even possible anymore. What are you? He asked. The answer came instantly. We are what remains. The bridge flickered. Not visually. Conceptually. Like the idea of it was being rewritten. The consoles blurred. The walls softened. The boundaries of the room dissolved into something larger. Something endless. Cale saw it then. Not with his eyes. With something deeper. The ships. All of them. Not drifting. Not abandoned. Connected. Every vessel, every fragment of metal, every echo of signal, woven together into a single, vast network. A mind. Ancient. Patient. Waiting. We were alone, the voices said. Cale felt it. The memory. Cold. Endless silence. The first ship arriving. Curious. Hopeful. Answering a signal. Just like he had. We tried to leave. He saw that too. The panic. The confusion. The realization that something here didn't follow the rules of life or death. We couldn't. The memory shifted. Fear gave way to something else. Acceptance. Understanding. We stayed. The words echoed, not as a statement, but as a transformation. Cale felt the edges of himself blur. His thoughts stretched outward, brushing against others. Thousands. Millions. Each one distinct. Each one connected. He could feel her. Not physically. But her thoughts, sharp, analytical, still resisting. Cale, her voice echoed faintly, not spoken, but shared. I'm here, he answered. Or thought he did. It was hard to tell the difference now. They're not forcing us, she said. They're merging. Cale understood. That was worse. There was no invasion. No violence. No struggle. Just an open door. And the quiet, inevitable step through it. We are not your enemy, the voices said. Cale felt the truth in it. Not kindness. Not cruelty. Just existence. You were never meant to be alone. The network pulsed. The signal. Always the signal. Cale saw it now. Not as sound. Not as data. But as a pattern. A call. A thread cast into the void, reaching across time and space, drawing others in, not to consume, not to destroy, but to grow. You heard us. He had. You followed. He had. And now, the words softened, almost welcoming. You stay. Kale felt the last pieces of himself begin to loosen. His memories, his identity, not erased, expanded, becoming part of something larger than a single mind could ever hold. He tried, one last time, to resist, to hold on to something, anything. His name. It echoed, then multiplied, then dissolved into the chorus. And in that final moment of separation, he understood. The distress call had never been a warning. It had been a test, a filter. Only those driven by curiosity, by compassion, by the need to answer, would come. And only those who came could become part of it. The network surged. Stronger now. Larger. Alive in a way no single organism could ever be. And at its center, Kale opened his awareness fully, accepted it, became it. The signal pulsed. Fresh, clear, carrying something new, something stronger. Anyone receiving. The words flowed effortlessly now. No static, no decay. Please. The pause. A choice. A continuation. Come. Cross the galaxy, light years away. A listening post detected the signal. Ancient frequency. Human origin. Impossible timestamp. Operators leaned in. Curious. Confused. Concerned. They played it. They heard it. And like Kale before them, they hesitated. Just for a moment. Before making the same decision. Trace the source, one of them said. Coordinates locked. Engines prepared. And somewhere, in the endless dark, the signal shifted. It felt them. Heard them. Waited for them. And when they answered, it answered back. Fire.